energy for activity. So their total daily energy expenditure is low. And so if they're not monitoring a lot of things, if you eat a little bit more food, you tend to have a little bit more energy to work out. Now, this is a fine line that requires a lot of nuance, okay? And I'm not a huge fan of it, but it can work in certain situations, right? But the other side of that is, how much food do we actually need? Because a lot of people say, like, oh, women shouldn't eat less than, 1,200 calories. Well, says who? There's no real research on that. There's no blanket statement you can make. You can eat as low of calories as possible in order that you still have energy to survive and work and do the things you need to do for the day. At some point, when you eat too little calories, you're not going to have the energy, and other things can happen to you physiologically speaking. So as long as we're monitoring all these things, the calories can keep coming down until we reach the weight loss we want to hit.
Is it kind of just basic for someone that really doesn't want to exercise but wants to lose weight? It's just like, eat more responsibly, stay away from fried foods, stay away from foods that are heavy in fat, grill things and no heavy sauces, not a lot of butter. Is it things like that? Salmon, chicken breasts, protein, some grains, a little bit of fat. Is that pretty much it?
Right. You're on the right track. Like you said, a lot of right things right there. Okay. I think the problem for most people is too much information too early leads to someone feeling overwhelmed and that they need to do a million things. Right. I like to take one step at a time. Okay. And that might be like, hey, start avoiding more highly processed foods and start eating more minimally processed foods. A lot of people out there might hear that and they go, oh, that's clean eating. And yes and no, right? So, hey, shop the perimeter of the grocery store. If it's in a box, maybe we want to avoid that to start.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Until we get a handle, okay? If it's got a list of 10 ingredients, let's probably higher processed than, like a bag of carrots just says carrots. There's nothing else to it. Some foods don't even have a label. That should tell you everything you need to know right there. Okay. So that's kind of where I would start. The second piece of advice I would give, and this is, a little bit different than, maybe advice 15, 20 years ago within, eat a lot of small meals, would be, hey, eat 3 big meals with a sizable portion of protein in it. Make sure you have some fiber. And again, I tell people, empower yourself. Google it, ChatGPT it. Which foods have fiber in it? Which foods are high in fiber? Make sure you have a fruit or a vegetable on your plate. If you do, you're covering the fiber. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a starchy carbohydrate and run with that. And then check to see like, hey, if I just plan these 3 meals, I'm good to go. The other thing, and I'm going to, leave you with this, it's okay to be hungry. When you are trying to lose weight, you need to be hungry. That lets you know it is working. So practice being hungry.
Nutrition is for weight loss. Fitness is for wellness. Hey, man, I work out a few hours a day so I can eat anything I want. It doesn't work that way, right?
Not at all.
Not at all. So when you say fitness is for wellness, what do you mean by that? Just being physically in better shape, which leads to a better mental, all of that?
I mean, it's after just a few weeks of lifting weights, you're already increasing your bone density. You're already increasing your muscle mass. Your immunity for your body to fight diseases has already shot up significantly. So that's what we mean when fitness is for wellness.
And just well-being, I mean, mentally, physically, it kind of all overlaps, right?
Absolutely.
And I just mentioned your final line, you can't outwork a bad diet. So eating crap and going to the gym, it's sort of like what, a zero-sum game? You just sort of spinning your wheels?
Yeah, look, I know... I really don't know how any other way to say it, and I hope people aren't offended when I say this, but it is what it is, okay? And if this strings, if this hits something deep inside, then maybe you need to consider your situation. But I know a lot of fat, fit people.
You know a lot of fat, fit people.
Yeah, you can be really fit and overweight.
That means can lift a lot of weights, decent cardiovascular.
Overweight people running half marathons all the time.
Yeah. Wow.
Lifting weight can be highly
athletic.
Athletic. Yeah. There's a lot of that out there, right? There is a saying that says healthy at any size. And for the most part, that can be true with a little bit of nuance. Now, the more overweight you get, the less of a factor that's going to be, right? But you can be overweight and be completely fit.
StackedCoaching.com. Bradley, always a pleasure.
All right, man. Thank you.
Bradley Schneller, StackedCoaching.com. Check it out.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center. It's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Don't forget you can catch the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on television every weekday afternoon, 4 to 5:30 on Cox Channel 4 TV and Spectrum Channel 333 television.
Yeah, you right. Our Humane May fundraiser continues. We're trying to raise $10,000 in the month of May for cats and dogs, kittens and puppies, horses, goats, for animals. It all goes to the animals. You want to save some animals? This is the way to do it. I'm serious. The Humane Society of Louisiana does great work. Jeff Dorson and his crew have been at it for over 35 years. On Thursday afternoons, for a few minutes, we toss them a bone every week for just a few minutes. And every May, we have our annual fundraiser. We call it Humane May, where we try to raise $10,000 for the Humane Society of Louisiana. One year, they got 400 containers, these little, kennels, and booked a plane and flew 400 cats and dogs to a city that had a no-kill shelter and was in need of animals for adoptions. So one year, we raised $10,000, you, the listening and viewing audience, and saved 400 cats and dogs. That's a fact. So Jeff Dorson always does great stuff with it. It's like 97 cents of every dollar goes to the animals. Jeff Dorson joins us from the Humane Society of Louisiana. Donate right now, humanela.org. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Corey. Yep, it's all true what you said. And unfortunately, this year we're seeing a real drop. It's just been a slow-moving train to try and get to hit the 10,000. So I'm hoping we can, push it a little bit more in the next, what do we have, 10 days left?
Not really. I mean, it's a week from Saturdays, May 31st. And then, besides you guys and social media and me on the air, I've got about 6 shows left. So we got to raise like $1,000 a day.
Wow. Okay. Well, we have our marching orders. Do you know we're having an event, a Humane Made wrap-up party at our office on the 31st? I'll fill you in, but we want you there to meet and greet some of our supporters.
I'll be there.
Make yourself. Okay, great. I'll send you the details.
Your West Bank location in Gretna, a week from this Saturday in the afternoon, right?
Yep, that's it. We'll have stuff all day long, but mainly it's a way for us to get last-minute donations so we can really be proud of something. We need more people to participate. That's just the reality. And I know the market fluctuations, the economy, but $5 or $10 we'll use. We can make good things happen.
Yep. Everybody, please donate. Don't feel, I'm only giving $5 or $10. If everybody did that, we'd hit the goal already. So
that's true. And a quick shout out to 2 of my favorite police officers. They're doing a great job. They take time out of their day to send me pictures of what they've been doing when they help an animal, if I may. It's St. Charles Sheriff's Office, Deputy Caitlin Pastor, just one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. She and her partner, Lieutenant Jack Gilboy, they've done 2 really great rescues. A few weeks ago, injured hawk. Now, what police officer, I know they're busy, but who's going to go out of their way to go to the actual scene, figure out what to do, and then do it right? They threw a light jacket over the hawk and gently put it in the cage, and then called around. We got the call. We got it to LSU vet school, and they nursed it back to health. How cool is that?
No, that's great. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's no animal too small or too worthless. I mean,
yeah. And then yesterday, Deputy Caitlin Pastor got another call, kitten meowing in a car. So the vehicle owner called the sheriff's office. She goes out, listens to the meowing, figures out it's coming from the undercarriage. She gets under it with some tools, takes a piece or part out, and sure enough, there's a kitten. They deliver it to the local animal shelter. That stuff's important. It just shows me how nice somebody can be to go out of their way. They don't have to, but here they are, hands and knees, a little bit greasy and oily, getting a kitten out of a car. Nice job, Deputy Pastor, and your buddy, Lieutenant Gilboy, nice work.
No, beautiful little Maine Coon type kitten too.
Yeah. If we all did that, we can learn from them. Go out of your way. Get involved. Stop for the turtle on the side of the road. Help these other living creatures survive because, we've taken most of their land and rivers and streams. We got to look out for them a little bit, please.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to volunteer, we're busy. We're good at lobbying. We're good at investigations. We're good at advocacy, campaigning. We're seeing a lot of good things happen. Go to our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We've seen 3 or 4 major arrests in the last few weeks. And why? Because we team up with law enforcement, encouraging them, giving them guidance, manpower. We go out on search warrants with them so they know that they have backup and that we take the animals. So it's working out pretty damn well. Even though our donations are down for the year, we're still not breaking our stride. We're working hard.
HumaneLA.org is the website. Please go there right now and donate. HumaneLA.org. GQ in Covington just donated a few minutes ago and sent us an email saying as much.
That helps.
Yep, it all helps. HumaneLA.org. Hey, real quick, Jeff, the 4 dogs that were just neglected, emaciated, y'all are nursing them back to health, still need more money. That matted fur that y'all shaved off that one dog, I mean, holding it up looked like, I'm like, is that a squirrel? I mean, it looked like a whole other animal that you cut off this animal.
That's correct. That's what it looked like. That's a long time to shave it down. These poor long-haired dogs have never been combed or matted or, taken care of. So they were carrying like 2 fur coats with them because this knucklehead couldn't be bothered. And underneath the fur coat that they shaved up, emaciated skeletal dogs. 4 felony counts. So good for you, Marksville Police.
Yep. Yeah. Put those idiots in jail and let's save the dogs. Blue Boys telling folks to donate, Jeff.
That's it.
Always a pleasure, Jeff. We'll see you next Thursday, hopefully with better news closer to our goal.
See you on the 31st, too. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, you're right. That's Jeff Dorson, Humane Society of Louisiana. Please go donate right now. HumaneLA.org.
On the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM. WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Here we go. The 5 o'clock hour coming your way. Today's 5 o'clock powwow brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. New Orleans born, bred, based. Latrim, out in Elwood. You want to know the great thing about Latrim? Well, besides Drew Brees saying it is New Orleans, that's true. Like I said, New Orleans company, private company, did over $1 billion in business last year. No, they invented the shrimp peeling machine, and to this day, it's still the industry standard. That led to the all-plastic modular conveyor belt. Anywhere there's a conveyor belt at a first-class company like, say, Anheuser-Busch, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Mercedes-Benz, Ford, John Deere, whatever it might be, food processors, they're using an Intralox belt from Latrim. Latrim, a culture of innovation. All this company does is expand like every month, every year, every decade. And if you go to their website, latrim.com, they not only have a job for you, they got a career for you. Some Latrim employees have been there for decades. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, latrim.com. It is a Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock Power Hour, brought to you by Latrim. Got a good one lined up for you this hour, the entire hour. Love getting these guys on. A couple of native New Orleanians. Right-leaning Quin Hilyer joins us. How you doing, Quin?
I'm doing great, Corey. How about you?
Doing really good, man. Always a pleasure to have you. Folks, you want to learn something about Quin? Go to his website, quinhilyer.com. Quin spelled with one N, Hilyer, Hillyer, quinhilyer.com. Ellis Henican, left-leaning Ellis Henican joins us. What up, Ellis?
Corey and Quin, nice to be on with you guys.
Yep, love having you on, Ellis. Henican.com is his website, Henican, Henican.com. Hey, Quin, I'll start with you. The New Year's terrorist attack, beyond New Orleans' control, in my opinion. Could have happened anywhere, any place, anytime. This standalone lunatic from Houston just happened to pick New Orleans on New Year's Eve. The jailbreak, a different story. That is totally on New Orleans, and it's a real black eye, not only nationally but internationally. This is news all around the world, and it just makes New Orleans not look good. What's your take?
It makes New Orleans look terrible. It is a sign of unbelievable incompetence, especially considering that this jail is only, 9 years old?
Yeah.
I mean, this is not some 90-year-old facility that's falling apart. This is pretty close to a brand new facility. And if it's gotten this bad in this bad a condition this quickly, and the cameras aren't working and the locks aren't working, that's just sheer incompetence. And frankly, I'm glad Sheriff Hudson has suspended her campaign. She should absolutely not run again. She was already a bad sheriff, but we can't have this. We just can't have it.
Ellis?
Well, I like your comparison, and I think you're right that during the terror attack, jailbreak. Yeah, this is certainly on New Orleans and on Louisiana, and everything we've seen from the current sheriff. I would say she's unlikely to get another term, no matter what happens with her own campaign plans. I would throw one small caveat into it. I am not impressed by the state officials, or led by the governor, who are pointing fingers so easily. They underfund the place. They refuse to cooperate with it. They don't give the jail the resources that it needs, and then they get surprised when bad things happen. They're trying to get those cell locks fixed for months, maybe years. The staffing is woefully inadequate. We overstuff the jail beyond its intended capacity, and bad stuff happens. Now, should that be stopped? Absolutely. Is there plenty of blame to go around? Yes. And I'm just a little skittish about some of the easy complaints from the legislators and the governor.
Quin, is it politics when you get the Republican governor and Republican-led legislature being hypercritical of the jail when Ellis makes some valid points there about funding and understaffing and the like?
Ellis makes some very fair points, and that's true. It is also true that New Orleans voters need to be a little more supportive of their criminal justice system. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, the millage that supports the jail passed by only 2%, not 2%, only 2 votes. And if that hadn't passed, then going forward it would be even worse. But what that shows is that she's had trouble getting support, not just from a Republican governor or whatever. She's had some trouble getting support from the community that should be the first in line. And so I don't know. I do think there's a lot of blame to go around.
It's a tough one, Ellis. When Quin's right. You want to fund these things, but when the leader is arguably incompetent it's hard to back that. And it was a tight vote. It was 2 votes. I think someone got paid for a recount. And after the recount, it was 4 votes, about 25,000 plus votes cast. But
boy, if you need any better argument to vote next time, I don't know what it is. All that's true. But by the way, I don't necessarily pine for the days of Sheriff Guzman, who seemed to me to be, if anything, possibly worse. Corruption problems, competence problems, overly politicized jail. I mean, listen, in the end, if we want to make New Orleans safer, there's some things we got to do. And it's a long list, but they include paying the cops a reasonable salary, staffing the jail to an appropriate rate, having a court system that has the people and the staffing and the funding in order to process cases in a swift and fair way. So yes, I mean, the system is obviously screwed, but we got a little to blame in the mirror here. We do have to fund it if we want it to work well.
Quinn, I think all that makes sense, coupled with, because that fixes immediate stuff, coupled with investing in public education so the next generations, got a chance.
Well, yeah, and to be fair here, Louisiana has put plenty of money into not just into public education, but into education trust funds that are constitutionally protected. They're also experimenting with all sorts of school choice things, which really have worked nationwide much more often than they haven't. And it's not an underfunded education system. And now with its back to basics approach, Louisiana is doing really well in this National Association of Educational Progress. In the last 2 years, Louisiana reading scores have shown the #1 improvement in the nation. So we keep this going, and that will help solve at least that part of the problem. If we just stick to our guns with the back to basics approach to reading and math, and maybe we'll be onto something.
Ellis?
Yeah, and it'd be nice if we had some jobs when those people came out of school too, right? What I like, Corey, about this discussion is that you are appropriately mixing things that need to be mixed together. Education, justice system, economic opportunity. I might throw health and housing into the mix as well. But it's very difficult in a big, complicated modern city to solve one of those problems without recognizing the way that they interact with all those other problems. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of pieces of it. There's a decent personnel, there's an engaged population, there's a creative thinking, there's funding. It does all go together. But man, you can't throw up your hands and just say it's hopeless. That is the losing proposition. We've done that for too long, and maybe we're getting out of it a little bit. I hope so.
Boy, where you are, Quinn, Mobile, Alabama, as a city, town, in the state of Alabama, they've been trying to maximize things for a few decades now.
Well, yeah, and they've done some things well and some things not well, just like Louisiana has done some things well and some things not well. Louisiana, I do have to say, has a lot more interesting character than Alabama does. I mean, New Orleans is one of a kind, and all of South Louisiana is just unique and fun and wonderful. But got to get our act together.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this legislative session.
Well, hold that thought on the legislative session. That's a perfect segue into the next one, and then we're going to get into Donald Trump. Another edition of Hilyer and Henican coming right back.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Welcome back. Corey Johnson with you. 5 o'clock powwow on a Thursday. Another edition of Hilyer and Henican. Love getting these guys on. Hey, Quin, I didn't mean to cut you off with the break. I want you to get into you were watching the legislative session, as you were saying, but also something that kind of irritates me. And you kind of led into it a little bit earlier. Louisiana compared to Alabama, and I'm not talking Alabama. I love Alabama. But Louisiana, the culture can't be beat. The natural resources. I mean, we have the Mississippi River. We've got all, 2 growing seasons, oil and gas, seafood. Alabama doesn't have all of that. Yet Alabama 30 years ago said, we're going to bring the automotive industry here. Didn't have a single thing going, not one job. Now they've got 15% of all automotive jobs. Birmingham's booming. Mobile, Alabama is having growth, and they're about to have explosive growth after that bridge and Jubilee Parkway are finished. And the time leading up to that will be continued growth like on that eastern shore. No, Alabama maximizes the little they have. Louisiana squanders the bounty that they have.
I think you might give Alabama a little too much credit, but and maybe Louisiana not quite enough. But in general, you're right. And I'm watching the legislature, and I'm like, so many times in the last couple of months, I'm like, why are they doing this? Why are they wasting their time on that? And why aren't they doing X, Y, or Z? It still astonishes me how they run down these rabbit holes or just jump down these rabbit holes when there's so much else that needs doing. I mean, look, we've got water systems that are bad all over the state. We've got we've obviously got criminal justice problems. We have pollution problems. We have a lot that needs to be fixed. And here's one example. I'm writing on it this week, but a little preview. There's a bill that actually passed the Senate yesterday to direct the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education to try to find an alternative to the LEAP assessment test for elementary schools. Now, why would you want to do that when the LEAP test is seen nationally as one of the better assessments, and when Louisiana has just started making tremendous strides with the testing and the curriculum that it has, so that it's moved from 42nd to 16th in reading, in fourth grade reading, in only 2 years, when it's one of only 2 states in the entire union who has seen both math and reading scores go up compared to what it was before the pandemic. In other words, we're finally doing some of the right things in education. And what does the legislature want to do, or at least the state Senate? It wants to get rid of the tests. And if you get rid of the LEAP test, if anybody understands how all this works, it means you have to completely redesign a curriculum. And if you completely redesign a curriculum, you know how much money that costs? You know how much teacher retraining that takes? Why do this? That's just one example of things that the legislature even comes close to doing that just makes no sense.
Ellis?
It's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. And let me broaden the conversation out just a little bit, because I have a theory about this. I don't know if Quinn is going to go with me on this, but I think that there is a culture clash that underlies a lot of this stuff. And let me see if I can describe it to you. The legislature and frankly the governor's office is in control of the parts of the state that aren't New Orleans. Right? It is a rural outlook, a central and North Louisiana outlook, and it is a hostile to the city of New Orleans. And so you have situations, and the jailbreak was an example. I can give you about 10 other where what the state officials do is try and impose this kind of ideological MAGA hot button, stupid political stuff into a modern place that really, that's not what we need. We need to solve the kind of problems that Quinn was talking about, the environmental problems, the development issues, and we got to make sure that the levee system continues to work and the kids are getting educated. We don't need, this crazy, DEI preaching, irrelevant stuff that the legislature seems to want to focus on. I mean, look at the governor, for instance, right? Really, the only time we hear from him is when he wants to complain about New Orleans. He appoints this business guy, Shane Guidry, to be his emissary to New Orleans. Never been elected to anything. I don't have any personal opinion about the guy. I mean, I'm sure he's a good businessman, but he's shown no feeling for what it means to run a big, complicated city like New Orleans. Some of it is political. I get it. It's Republicans beating up on Democrats. But so much of it is just, to me, cheap pandering in a way that doesn't really advance the practical needs of the people of Louisiana.
Quinn?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Shane Guidry, because this is not something the legislature has done, but it's something that this governor has done, and Southeast Louisiana could really, really suffer from it. And that is the governor's attempt to undo the reforms that created the the two new
levy
boards
districts
out of what had been something like 15 levy boards.
Yep,
exactly. Great example.
And now he has, even though he hasn't appointed Shane Guidry officially to run it, Shane Guidry basically says he's running it, and the guy that has been appointed, I think his name is Karuba, says he answers to Guidry.
That's right.
And what are they doing? They're getting rid of the nonpartisan expert board of advisors that nominates people for the Southeast Louisiana Levy Board, and they've messed things up so much that 4 of the 9 commissioners, I think they're called commissioners, board members, have resigned, leaving only 5 out of 9. You have to have 5 for a quorum. Just yesterday, the chairman of the board, this guy who says he answers to Shane Guidry, didn't bother showing up to his own meeting, meaning there was no quorum, and so they couldn't adopt the official hurricane plan. Guess what? Hurricane season starts in 9 days. And yet the levy board, which is our basic flood control outfit, couldn't even meet to approve a hurricane prep plan because this governor's own chairman has messed things up so much, and then he couldn't show up to his own meeting, and he says, well, that's okay. Mr. Guidry says it's fine, so I'm going with it.
No,
give me a break.
No, it's a nightmare because you've got, they're trying to cut the board from 9 to 7 members. Landry would appoint 4. They say the board's a major problem. Look no further than the East Bank Levy District, which is really run well. The board also appoints the West Bank levy group, and they don't have a problem with the West Bank one. So, yeah, it's kind of politics at its worst. Some say it's like just to get control of the levy board police force and utilize them beyond the levies, which is not what they're supposed to do. I'm going to move on in a second, but I do know Shane Guidry from De La Salle, and Shane Guidry took over Harvey Marine from his dad, who was, part of the Star Casino in Kenner with Edwin Edwards, bribing, extortion. He went to jail. Shane Guidry has grown Harvey Marine, but I'm just going to say it, and I'd say it to Shane Guidry's face. Shane Guidry is painfully average. Painfully average. He's not special. He's not hyper intelligent. He doesn't have this cutting edge business sense. He's in the oil and gas industry, and the company's set up, and there are only so many of them, and he's done a good job with that. But he's no one special. And this for Jeff Landry to hook his wagon him like it's Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is a questionable call with the president. And Elon Musk has a resume and has done a lot. No, Shane Guidry, I'll say it again, just painfully average, and that's kind of a nightmare, that type of stuff. That's politics at its worst. You guys ready to jump into the Trumpster?
Let's go for it, sure.
All right. I was watching some reruns the other day of Sopranos on HBO. I figured it out. Donald Trump is Tony Soprano without the mafia connection and the murders. Rules don't apply, Ellis. Common courtesy doesn't apply. He can go from gracious to furious in a second. He's a relentless competitor. When he loses, he attacks you personally. He's right about some things. He's wrong about some things. He's in charge. It's his show 100%. He controls it all. The executive, the legislative branch. He's got a conservative leaning court, 6-3 majority. He is Tony Soprano without the mafia and the killings.
Right, and without a real United States attorney looking over his shoulder, there's so many ways to take this conversation. But let me focus on one that's at the front of my mind right now. I mean, I understand that part of what Donald Trump's agenda is that he thinks he needs to go wreck things in government, in whether that's defund FEMA, whether it's to cancel the National Weather Service, whether it's to remove all foreign aid. I mean, any of these things, much of it is designed just to wreck things. And I understand, government can be tightened up. Nobody wants fraud and waste and abuse. But there are so many examples of this stuff that really, that's not how you make things better. It takes a scalpel. It takes intelligence. It takes fresh thinking, like Quin was talking about a moment ago, to come in and just destroy things with no no notion about what you're going to do to make it better. The air traffic control world, another place that I point to. And then look today, and I'll be quiet in 1 second, but there's so many examples, it's hard to know where to stop. The fight with Harvard right now, right? I mean, there's all kind of things we could object to about Harvard, but do we really want to stop all foreign students from attending Harvard University?
No,
Greatest minds in the world.
No, that's the latest and greatest. Let me knock out this quick break, and we'll come back with that.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Another edition of Hilyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quin Hilyer's with us, left-leaning Ellis Henican. Quin, you just heard what Ellis was talking about. It's like the car needs a new set of tires and Trump just totals the car. There's a lot of truth to that. And the Trump administration says Harvard can no longer enroll international students. They must transfer from Harvard or risk losing their legal status. An attack on Harvard, man. I mean, Harvard, to me, schools like Harvard, a lot of where we are in America is because of these schools, the research in so many different things.
Well, first of all, let me ask you to do me a favor at the end of this and give me 2 minutes for three sort of nice tributes to people that I want to recognize.
Yeah, I want to definitely, I saw your piece on Livingston, so I definitely want to talk to you about that, Quin.
Okay, well, thanks. And then I've got a couple of other little hat tips. But meanwhile, to answer your question, to say that, look, I don't like Harvard very much. I'm a conservative. Harvard is a hotbed of liberalism. There's a lot not to like about Harvard, and there's a lot that maybe the administration can do to rein in some of Harvard's abuses that would be targeted and that would be focused and that would be legal. But to say that Harvard cannot let in any foreign student, I don't know how that's legal. Maybe they've got some legal argument, but to me that sounds blatantly illegal. It's a private university, for gosh sakes, but it's also just stupid policy. I mean, do you know how much money those foreign students bring into the United States? Do you know how much goodwill the United States gets worldwide by letting in foreign students? Now, I don't want to let in a whole bunch of Chinese communists, but to let in students from India and Indonesia and Europe and Japan or wherever, that's good for the United States. And so on multiple levels, what the administration is doing there makes no sense. But I don't want to filibuster. There's so much to talk about that Trump's not doing well. But if I can get back to two things that Ellis mentioned, because it's actually really important and it dovetails with what I was talking about on the levee board. I am scared to death for this storm season this year, and that is because the Elon Musk blunderbuss approach to cutting government without doing it carefully has meant that FEMA has said in its own internal meetings that it's not ready for hurricane season. Okay. So if there is a hurricane, there's no federal agency to come in and help. That's bad. Number two, as Ellis mentioned, the National Weather Service has had such severe cuts that they are really worried about their weather forecasting capabilities. They're understaffed, et cetera, et cetera. We need that. And then NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is one of the two agencies that does hurricane reconnaissance flights, they may not be able to fly those flights because they've been cut back so bad. And what that means is on the front end, we might be 24, 36 hours worse in terms of recognizing possible changes in hurricane directions, 24 hours less to get prepared, to make, to get provisioned or to evacuate. So on the front end, we won't be as well warned about hurricanes. On the back end, with FEMA totally messed up, we can't deal with the hurricanes. And locally, with the levee board that this governor has screwed up, we don't have a hurricane plan for this year. This is all one big major screw up on multiple levels, and Lord forbid we get a really bad storm this year.
Ellis?
I don't know how more articulately to say it. That's exactly right. And Quin, as you know, we could take that analysis and probably apply it to 20 other realms in government these days. The air safety piece. I just flew out of Newark the other day, by the way. What a treat that was. And you could apply it to, economic development and to housing and to the education. The idea of solving whatever you don't like about government with a wrecking ball is very seldom really a very good idea.
Ellis, Quinn, did either one of you guys happen to catch the president at the White House yesterday with the South African president?
Yeah.
I did not catch that, but I heard it was sort of like what he did to Zelensky, except in this case, I've got to say, he did have at least part of a point. I mean, there have been 50,000 white South Africans murdered in the last short period of time. That's pretty bad. And they even had Ernie Els and Retief Goosen, two formerly, great golfers in there with the meeting and say, this really is a problem. We deserve protection just like anybody else. So Trump had a little bit of a point. Of course, he went way overboard and started talking about a genocide and all this kind of stuff.
And I think those photos were like from the Congo, not South Africa.
No, but from what I gather, there really have been tens of thousands of whites who have been murdered. And
but you know what, Quinn? Here's the problem. There's a context here, right? I mean, you've just gone and cut off all support, all aid, all ability to come to the United States for all of these non-white people in that part of the world, right? You're doing nothing for South Sudan. You're denying medical aid and food aid to starving children in the neighborhood. And then the one group that you're willing to kind of send out a little bit of aid to just so happens to be the white children of apartheid South Africa. That can't be by accident, is it?
No, it's not, and it's sickening. But that doesn't mean that he didn't have some reason to question and put a little pressure on the South African president. But again, he went way overboard, and what you say in the context is absolutely right too. And it really is not just a bad look, but it's bad substance. We should handle foreign immigrants the same regardless, meaning if they're legal, we welcome them. If they're illegal, we don't welcome them, but we try to make it easier for them to become legal, fix our immigration system, et cetera, et cetera. But you don't say, well, we're going to really cut down on every group, except for the white ones. You're right. That's bad.
Yeah, and look, like, for instance, just to add one more log to the fight, 250,000 Venezuelans, right, in the United States, under special permission to be here because of the horrors going on from the communist government of Venezuela. These are people, they're kind of like the Cubans, I guess, in a way. But we should have great sympathy for these people and try to be supportive of them. And they're running away from an absolutely horrible regime. You would think that Republicans would be kind of sympathetic. And so we just revoked that protection from those 250,000 Venezuelans while we have gone and extended the welcome mat to those Afrikaners. I don't know. It's hard to get away from that comparison, I think.
Well, we're also doing the same thing to the Afghanis who stood with us for 20 years while we were in their country, and we gave them special visas to come here when we bailed on them. And now we're revoking their visas. These are people that put their lives on the line for us, and the Trump administration is revoking their visas. If there's any one group that we should stand by, it is the immigrants from Afghanistan who befriended us for 20 years, and yet we're revoking their visas, and it's sickening. So the whole approach is fraught with problems. And I say that as somebody who does want to restrict illegal immigration and who does approve of mass deportation as long as it's done legally. But my goodness, the way that the Trump team does overkill is it's appalling.
Hey, Ellis, I was kind of impressed by the South African president, who his commissioner of agriculture is from the opposition party, is a white guy, and he brought him in because there's an extreme hardcore I don't know what you'd call them, leftist, right? I have no idea what political angle they are. They're black, and they don't want any white people in South Africa. They were talking about killing white people, all that. And the black president got with the opposition party and is working with them to make sure those extreme lunatics don't have any control in South Africa. So the Nelson Mandela kind of thing was pretty impressive, I thought.
Yeah, it is. And again, I don't pretend to intricate knowledge of the
Me neither.
Politics.
Just what I saw at the White House.
But the idea of sitting down as the president and just berating the people who come to you, what does that achieve? I mean, the Zelensky meeting a few weeks ago was obviously the biggest example of that. But why do that? We're trying to solve problems in the world, and just to treat people like garbage, I just don't think it advances anything.
No, it's just how the guy operates. It's like the white genocide and the photos and the mourners at the grave site. Supposedly that photo was from the Congo. The president of South Africa asked Donald Trump, where is that? I don't know of this in South Africa. And Donald Trump couldn't answer it. So if it was real and it was authentic, he would have been like, that's in so-and-so. Our intelligence guys said it's in this province, in this town, in South Africa. And he could not answer that. It just seemed like kind of Trump talk, just sort of winging it. Guys, knocking out the final break, and we're going to come right back, and maybe some things Donald Trump's doing well. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Henican. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Welcome back. Another edition of Hilyer and Henican. You can check out Ellis online, Henican.com, and you can check out Quin online, QuinHilyer.com. All right, Quin, I mean, you throw so much stuff against the wall, something's got to stick. I mean, even if you totally dislike Trump, I was talking to some of my liberal friends, and I was like, you know, Pakistan and India seems like Trump kind of helped get that thing slowed down at least. Congo and Rwanda. He was talking about that yesterday. I don't know how much, truth there is to that, but it appears that they're working on stopping that conflict. Israel, Hamas, Ukraine, Russia, still a work in progress, but you throw so much against the wall, something's got to stick in a positive way. Yes or no?
But I say that very reluctantly because I'm so appalled by his trampling of laws, of constitution, of norms, of the system itself. And I don't mean, everybody says, we got to change the system. I'm talking about the underlying baseline system of the Constitution and the way the Constitution and the country has operated at a very basic level, not talking about the bureaucracy and all that kind of stuff. If you undermine that, if you erode that, then we're in big trouble. And that's what he's been doing, and that's what bothers me, even when I like some of his, not all, but some of his goals and some of what he actually does.
Ellis?
Fair enough. I mean, it's right, and sometimes as one gets revved up in these things, you forget some of the good stuff. But God, there's so many things that can be so frustrating. I guess now I feel some pressure to point to a nice one. I'll tell you one thing that's at least a step in the right direction. Don't know if Quin agrees with this one, but when people pay taxes, state and local taxes, those should be deducted on your federal income tax. You shouldn't have to pay them twice. And they have raised the cap in this new bill that Trump is supporting. Passed the House early this morning, I guess, from 10,000 to 40,000. I mean, that's a small thing, but you know what? That's a move in the right direction.
Quin?
I don't agree with that. I won't get into that. I do think in this bill, eliminating the tax on tips is, from a policy standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a common sense standpoint, from every standpoint you look at it, it is a terrible idea. And here's what it does. In addition to all that, why it's immoral and unethical. If you make most of your money from tips because you're in the service industry, and bless your heart, I have great respect for people that do that. But if most of your money comes from tips and you don't have to pay taxes on tips, how do you explain that to the people, the plumbers, the electricians, the assembly line workers, whose money does not come from tips, but from hourly wages, and they have to pay on what's their basic income? They have to pay income tax, but the people who are making tips do not. How is that fair? And that's before you even get into any of the bad economic results that I could go into. That's a terrible part of this bill, and it's a reason in itself to oppose the so-called big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, no, I think that's strictly a let me get those people voting for me bill.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, Quinn, it's kind of vanilla and basic and almost childlike. I'm going to go into that country and work a deal. But it's working, it seems like. I mean, Saudi Arabia, it's going to be like hundreds of billions, if not $1 trillion. And kind of just going into these countries with that attitude, we're going to work a deal. These countries are like, what assets do I have that they want? Let me make them available. And then everybody wins. He does seem to be doing that. Am I just misreading it? It's Trump talk and it's no reality to it?
It'll take a couple of years to see the results of that. I am very skeptical, but maybe it is a good thing. I don't know. I'm very wary. I certainly hate the idea of accepting a random old plane from Qatar and turning that into Air Force.
That's not going to happen. There's not enough time for it to happen in Trump's administration.
It's all right. I mean, the Department of Defense has already said it would accept it.
Oh no, they'll accept the plane, but it'll never be Air Force One. I mean, does it have bugs? They got to make it Air Force One, all the technology. Boeing's building the two planes. Those will be finished before they even, I don't think they'll do anything but that plane but accept it. I think that's all just a bunch of nonsense. Ellis?
I hope you're right on that one. Corey, I think you're being a little naive on all these deals. The ones that I see mostly seem to benefit the Trump family and the areas that matter. I mean, how are all those trade deals coming? We going to get with 90 deals in 90 days or something? And we got one kind of half stab at something that wasn't real with the UK. I think that's a phony thing. I don't think he is the great deal maker.
No, we'll have to wait and see, like Quinn said. Ellis, the borders changed from hundreds of thousands crossing. I think they had 7,000 last month. Crime down, fentanyl down. Is that working?
You know what? Be skeptical on that, too. Yeah, it may be working for a minute. One thing to remember is that almost half of the people come to the United States and are here illegally don't come across the border. They come on airplanes and they overstay their visas. So there's no wall you can build that will stop that. So that's not down to 7,000. In the end, until we have a legal immigration system that works, those people will find a way to get here. And if they don't do it over the border, they'll do it some other way. If we have jobs to fill and we have a system that does not allow legal immigration, we're going to face some version of illegal immigration.
You got 15 seconds, Quinn.
Oh, my goodness. I want to say condolences to the Bat family and friends. A good former city councilman and very good guy, Jay Bat, died this week.
Yep.
I want to say happy 90th birthday to Jim Mora, and I want to say congratulations to Bob Livingston for having part of UNO's campus named after him.
Did you say happy 90th to Jim Mora?
Happy 90th to Jim Mora this week.
He's the best looking 90-year-old man on the planet. Yeah, and Bob Livingston.
And all New Orleanians should love Jim Mora.
Yep, no, exactly. And Jim thinks. And the Bob Livingston tribute, you can check that out at NOLA.com or at Quin Hilyer. Quinn, Ellis, thanks, guys.
Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.